Delta Chi Nation, Jason Sisk, the Director of Annual Giving of the Delta Chi Educational Foundation, here with you this morning. Happy Founders Day. We have kicked off Founders Day of Giving for day 2, and really excited. I'm really excited to spend some time today with Alex Brown, our Director, the fraternity's Director of Education and Leadership Programs. How are we doing this morning, Alex?
Fantastic. It's a great day. It's Founders Day. So happy Founders Day to you and to all the members and friends of the fraternity that are watching. I hope everyone's day is off to a great start.
Well, let's hope. It's a beautiful Thursday here in Indianapolis. A little bit overcast and a little drizzly this morning, but that was a nice start to the day. So really excited. So before we get started with Alex, I want to give everyone an update here. Making fantastic progress today. In fact, we are at $86,239 raised so far, which is fantastic. 190 donors. Top 5, you guys, I challenged everybody last night to knock Embry Riddle off the top, and nobody has done it so far. So Embry Riddle is still in the lead, and then followed, of course, by the same top 5 has kind of stuck the same since late last night. Oklahoma number 2, LSU, Illinois, Ball State rounds out the top 5. So really, really great job. A lot of people are bringing in a lot of money for the benefit of Delta Chi's everywhere. And one of the main things that the Delta Chi Educational Foundation does, and that Delta Chi does very well, is education, right? And so the foundation supports a lot of leadership programs and a lot of educational initiatives for Delta Chi. And so that's why we have you on today to talk about that, really let folks know what's out there, and let folks know what we do to help our members learn and become better leaders. So let's jump into it. First of all, Alex, tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit of your Delta Chi story and how you came to join Delta Chi staff.
Yeah, so my journey with Delta Chi began at South Dakota State University, go Jacks. And I was somebody who was first-generation college student, come from a very, very small town, and joining a fraternity was something that didn't know a lot about. I'd always kind of been interested, but just never found the right fit until later in my collegiate experience. Was very fortunate. I got connected to the student government, and through that made some connections with Delta Chi. And in those initial conversations, I can still, it's especially special on Founders Day. I could tell you the exact moment I knew I was going to be a Delta Chi, in a conversation with a brother, Daniel Hammerstrom, who was like, I won't go into the full details, but in that conversation, in that moment, I'd been recruited by a few other groups, knew in that instant that, yes, this is where I needed to be. And was, my initiation day, everything, just nothing but positive experiences. Was elected to the executive board the day after I was initiated. And I joined our chapter the semester after they got their charter. So I was a part of that post-chartering blues period of okay, now what? And my time in Delta Chi has really influenced my entire career. By being a part of that organization at that time, I had the chance to build something with being surrounded by amazing individuals who really had some great vision and foresight to think about, what do we want this to be? And taking a look at the membership that was a part of the organization and influencing, what do we want to build? And really identified 3 core pillars of international travel and diversity experiences, professional development opportunities, and ethical leadership development. Was involved in student government and all these different things that got a chance to travel the world because of my involvement with Delta Chi. And that influenced my career in wanting to go into higher ed, where I worked on a variety of college campuses, advising fraternities and sororities, student leadership development, all those different pieces. But in all of my early roles, every role I had was a newly created position. And so building organization systems, organizational culture, was a big part of my role. And that all stemmed from my time as a collegiate member. And then I still remember the day when I got the call from the international headquarters. They had a new position that they were opening up, working with alumni engagement, and asked me to throw my hat in the ring. And I knew it was an opportunity I couldn't pass up. There is no way I can ever fully repay Delta Chi for what it has given me. And so the chance to serve as a staff member was a fantastic opportunity. I was very fortunate to serve in that role for a little over 2 years, and then was asked to transition over and take over the education and leadership program. So I've been doing that since right before the pandemic. So it was an interesting time to hop over and, find ways to support members through virtual experiences and all those different pieces, but have just been absolutely thrilled to be a part of the growth and development of our members.
That's really fantastic. Well, we're glad we landed you there at South Dakota State. So go Jacks indeed. In fact, CJ Costas has joined us, and he said go Jacks as well. Manny Rodriguez says happy Founders Day, gentlemen. So happy Founders Day to you, Manny. Thanks for joining us. So this is awesome. I'm excited to chat with you a little bit about the educational opportunities that our young brothers can take part in. So let's talk about, you guys are fantastic. You mentioned kind of the pandemic and kind of having to do things virtually. I feel like, I think we've talked about this in past years. Delta Chi was already sort of working toward a model of being able to do more virtually prior to the pandemic. So it just kind of was, lucky timing that we had already been working on that. And so we kind of had an advantage over other organizations. But let's talk about one of the main things you guys do virtually. You guys have quite a few different webinars regarding a lot of different things. So tell us a little bit about what kind of upcoming webinars and kind of some of the standard webinars that happen for our young brothers.
Yeah, definitely. That's been an area that's evolved over the last few years. Right now, Davis on our team does a variety of member safety pieces that are fantastic and give some great information. Historically, we've done, a number of things with operations and how do enhancing performance. But in the last few years, we've really tried to continue to evolve that and focus not just on operational experiences, but on the personal and professional development of our members. And we're very fortunate enough to be able to leverage the great insights of our alumni to do that. So that has been a real focal point in the last couple of years, particularly for those personal and professional development ones, is how can we identify alumni who are out doing this work or have a track record of, great, yeah, we can talk about these things, but having an alumnus come in and talk about their specific experiences or how it applies really makes the difference. And so we've done pieces in the past on managing personal finances. David Edwards was fantastic last year in offering a personal finance course for our members. Heads up, he'll be doing one in March specifically on investments. So especially for those, young alumni who are out there or just starting their career, want to figure out what's the best way to set myself up for success. He's got some great insights. Past AA, RC Domley came and did a program on specifically sales in the tech and pharmaceutical industries. And we had amazing feedback from our students who were interested in this career field. So we've looked at everything from ritual. Cameron Barnett, our ritualist, and members of the ritual committee did a session at the beginning of the semester for us. Eric Stice and Barrister have done programs with us on landlord-tenant relationships and knowing your rights. And we're really excited about some of the fall ones coming up. Next week, actually, October 19th at 8 p.m., we've got a program called Built to Last. It's all about the power of relationships. And we know, we talk about that, right? Everyone knows or remembers that pitch from the moment they were recruited about being a part of this network of alumni and the relationships. Well, great. How do you actually do that? How do you actually take advantage of those relationships? And so alumnus Jason Michael Walker is going to be presenting that program. Jason has a fantastic track record of not only building relationships in his professional career, whether it was in the Peace Corps, now working with the EPA, but also in his volunteer roles in his personal life. I think you'd be hard pressed. I think for a lot of folks, when they have a relationship guy, he's one, you say Jay will know, and it's not just I know that guy. It's I've talked to him, I've made a connection with him. So I mean, we're very excited about that program. It's going to be a great way to talk about networking, leveraging those relationships, improving alumni engagement, all those different pieces. And then in November, speaking of alumni engagement, we've got a program with the Power of the Lifelong Bond. Our Assistant Director of Alumni Engagement and Relations, Ross is going to be leading that program, but he's also going to be presenting with Matthew Gorenstein, who's the E at Embry-Riddle. This is a great opportunity for us. Again, like we can talk best practices, but here's a chance for our members to learn from a fellow Delta Chi, a fellow collegiate member who's out doing this work and making relationships with the folks at Embry-Riddle. And again, as you mentioned, they're on top of the leaderboard this morning. So, hey, they might have some great ideas about how do you build a strong alumni network. So that's really been our goal. Yes, we can provide a lot of different pieces, but how do we take the interests and needs of our students and match that with our alumni, our collegiate members who are doing the work? So it's a great way to learn and connect from one another.
Well, that's great, and you're exactly right when you talk about chapters, chapters that are succeeding in things that we need to be picking their brains, and we need to be finding, not necessarily reinventing the wheel on certain things. There's lots of things that you can repeat that do really well, and when it comes to relationships, you're right. Jason Michael Walker is probably the best at being the most genuine type of person, and just cares about everyone that he meets, and he's just very, very good at making relationships. So that's gonna be a fantastic webinar. I'm gonna have to check in myself and see how to build a good relationship. So so let's kind of switch gears a little bit. So everyone who's a Delta Chi has heard of a regional leadership conference. Everyone has, if they haven't attended one, they know what they are. They know that they exist. They know that that chapters are required to send people to RLCs. You guys had, over the last few years, have kind of started to take a different approach in that you've created tracks for the different positions and things of that nature, and that takes place at the RLC. So tell us a little bit about that. About what these tracks are, what's available, and why you think that makes a difference in our chapters.
Definitely. So the RLCs are, for many of our members, their first experience with Delta Chi beyond their campus, right? And so there's such an important part of understanding their connection to Delta Chi at the greater level. And they're actually kind of a unique role because our regents are the ones who are responsible for the planning and implementation, and we as staff are there to help with that process. But a huge amount of work. We're very grateful for our outstanding volunteers as regents, the campuses and students and all other alumni that they work with to help make these things happen. But what we had heard from both collegiate members and alumni quite consistently was we need more and better training on officer pieces, right? So how do we help prepare and develop our officers? How do we enhance recruitment, new member education? And so that's where the track pieces came from. It was hearing directly from our members saying, this is something we want and need. Great. Let's take a look at that. And that continues to evolve year after year, figuring out, working with staff, working with the groups, and figuring out, what are some of the challenges that the C's are experiencing? What can we do to help the F create a safer and engaging environments? And so we continually are evaluating. All of our members who participate take an assessment, and that really guides changes and updates to the curriculum each and every year. But again, it's a team effort. The Board of Regents has actually established a committee to examine RLCs, identify best practices, and start to look at ways we can continue to innovate the RLC experience. We also, again, have alumni-specific opportunities as well. So I think for a lot of folks, with the tracks, they think collegiate members, they think those things. This is a great opportunity for alumni as well. So if you're a volunteer, there's training available. If you're an alumnus or volunteer, there's training available. It's a great opportunity to connect with your fellow Delta Chi's. So all the dates and locations for the RLCs are set. So if folks want to head over to the Delta Chi website, you can go on, find the time and location of your RLC and start making plans to attend. Especially as we're coming out of that pandemic, we've got regions that are like virtual still is the best fit for us. Others are like, yes, we're very excited to be back in person. And so regardless of that opportunity, we're excited to be able to continue to support the experience of our members.
That's fantastic. So, RLCs are always a good time. I've always felt as an alumnus, when you go to convention, there's 600 people there. There's hundreds of alumni, and so sometimes you can just kind of get a little overwhelmed with all the people. When you're at an RLC as an alumnus, there's only a handful of you really, and so you can't help but kind of be an insider at that point. And so you're going to be hanging out with the other alumni in the room. And most likely that's a double letter officer, and that's your regent, and that's, vice regents, and that's people that are decision makers and movers and shakers in the fraternity. So if you've never been to an RLC, it is a much different experience to a lot of things that you've been to. It's a fantastic time. And it's a very easy to get the ear of folks that matter, right? Or quote unquote matter. So it's really fun. So let's, you mentioned earlier, you were talking about, professional and personal development. And I think you guys are, the fraternity is doing something that I think is fantastic. And that is this mentorship network that you guys have, or that you've come up with. So talk to us real briefly about that. I want to get into, we have a kind of a cool announcement regarding one of our other leadership programs after this, but talk to us a little bit about the mentorship network and what that does for folks.
Yeah, definitely. So as I mentioned, when I joined my chapter, they'd just gotten their charter, and I'd been told during that process, like, hey, you're joining this great network of, thousands of alumni. And we didn't have any. No one had graduated yet. They'd even done like a radius search, and I think there was one person on the other side of the state that at the time lived, in South Dakota. That is very different now, but we know our groups are in different places, right? Some are in more remote areas, some are in a college town where most of their alumni leave and go other places. And so the idea and opportunity to promote alumni engagement does look different depending on where you're at. The Mentorship Network is a way for us to help close that gap. This is a free program. It's available to all of our members. deltachi.firsthand.co. There's a link on the website. Signing up is really just like almost any other social media platform. You can use an existing LinkedIn profile. But the benefits for members, whether you're collegiate or an alumnus, is it's a way to really use the network that we have of alumni, right? Like this is a real tangible way that it's not just the people from my chapter. This is all alumni who want to sign up. You have access to them. So you can connect with alumni in a wide variety of topics, whether you're interested in your own personal leadership journey or your role as an officer. Maybe you're looking at applying for law school or medical school, and you want to understand what that process looks like. Or you want to do a mock interview or have a resume critique. This is a great opportunity to find somebody who either, and again, you can search, I want to talk to somebody from my chapter, or I want to talk to somebody who is in this industry, right? So it's a great way, it's an easy way to connect. For alumni who sign up, it's at your convenience, right? Like I get to set as a mentor, I can go in and set my calendar and say, this is when I'm available. So even if you're like, I've got 15 minutes that I could volunteer for Delta Chi, great, you can do that. Hey, I live, in another country, and I'm 3,000 miles from the nearest chapter. Okay, you can still connect, right? So it offers and opens up the opportunities for our alumni to be engaged. You can share. There's a job board, so not only can members go in and search for job or internship opportunities. A little plug for alumni: it is a free way to promote opportunities for your company. No cost. Great. We will get that set up and put in there. And you can share those opportunities with Delta Chi, or you can even open up and say anybody who's a part of the Firsthand network can access. So you've got a free platform to help spread opportunities for your company or industry. And we're very excited. We've seen a huge jump in usage after convention. If I remember correctly, we saw 166% increase in views from June to July. And those pieces, we're seeing some great returns. So would definitely encourage folks to check it out. Signing up is quick and easy, and you can really make it a very customizable experience for what you want and what you're interested in. And again, for alumni, you don't just have to be a mentor. As a young alumnus or somebody who's looking at changing industries, I can do that. I can be both a mentor and a mentee. So I think this is really part of, as we talk about expanding the continuum of experiences, right? Like, yes, there's a lot of opportunities for our collegiate members, but we're also invested in the growth and development of our alumni. You're a Delta Chi for life. And so finding those ways and opportunities for us to support everyone's experience in Delta Chi is a really a strong opportunity, and the Mentorship Network is a great way to do that.
That's fantastic. Yeah, what a really neat system that you guys set up there. And I did that myself. I did a mentor and a mentee. I did that myself when I signed up. Switched careers to take this position on, and so so I thought it'd be good to have have some help on both sides and be able to help where I'm help, where people need my help. So let's jump into the flagship program of Delta Chi, the big program that Delta Chi has, the A's Academy. For those that are unaware, tell us a little bit about what the A's Academy is, and how that comes about, and talk about the cost to our chapters, and talk or the cost to our A's, and what that gives them.
Certainly. So the program, our volunteer leadership, back in 2006 was the first year of the program. And that really stemmed from conversations from our volunteers and our board and staff in identifying and saying, we really need an opportunity for our A's to have the tools and skills necessary to do the work and influence the work of the chapter. And so the very first A's Academy was held. Uh, for those of you that know, brother and father Anthony. He is a monk at St. Meinrad, and was the first person to be like, we've got a great spot for you to think about this program. And so for years, St. Meinrad had been the home for our A's Academy. And it's a program that's really focused on leadership development, action planning, and helping to make sure that our A's are ready to make a positive change. So not only is it an opportunity to invest in themselves as leaders, but support the work of the chapter and help them to have the confidence and skills necessary to do the work. And so it's just a program that's near and dear to my heart. It's one of the first ways I got involved, aside from volunteering at the local level. I still remember when I got the call from Zach Cole at the time to be a facilitator at A's Academy, and I've been very fortunate to have been a part of it. I should have counted. This is probably ninth or 10th A's Academy for me. So to see it from a volunteer side, to be able to be a part of it and support it from the staff side. We've had to do virtual the last 2 years. And so we're very excited to be able to bring the program back in person for our students this year.
And I think one of the big things that's pretty underrated about this program that not everyone is aware of is that the A's go cost free. The A's don't even have to pay for their travel to get there. So this is an opportunity to get every A of every chapter together, so they can learn together and really advance the organization by learning. And so Delta Chi removed that barrier of entry for folks to come to that program. I think that's really awesome.
Yeah, and that's huge. And the chance to be able to tell our A's that, like, this is a program for you, designed for you, and that, hey, you can come, right? Like the barrier for cost isn't there for our members. And so that is a huge part. And so we're very thankful to be able to do that from a staff side. But again, that wouldn't be possible without the support from the Delta Chi Educational Foundation, volunteers, and donors who help support the cost of this program to make this program accessible to our members.
Yeah, that's really exciting, and that is there is a grant that comes from the Educational Foundation that is funded directly from the general fund. So dollars that you guys are sending in today are going to help make future grants to the A's Academy and to many other programs. So let's get to it. We have a real big announcement about A's Academy. You mentioned St. Meinrad as where the longtime location of A's Academy, but that's switching up. So tell us a little bit about what to expect going forward.
Yeah, so St. Meinrad is an incredibly special place. It will forever hold a very special place in my heart and in the history of the program. It is a fundamental part of that experience. But St. Meinrad is making some changes in how they do location bookings and things like that, and just couldn't accommodate a group of our size in the future. And so, again, we know the connection, and that will forever be very important to us. But we also are looking forward to this new opportunity. It's a new, fresh breath of life into the program, especially if we're coming off 2 years of virtual experiences. To come back in this new way, in a new place, is really going to be uplifting and exciting. So we're very excited to be able to announce that Camp Young Judea, which is just outside of Austin, Texas, is going to be the host site for our 2023 A's Academy. And so very excited to be able to be in this place. I just a few weeks ago, I had a chance to go and see it for myself, and see. I think it's going to add, I think location is important, right? Like the reason St. Meinrad was such an important place for us is how it helped to impact the experiences of our members and elevate the program. And I think Camp Young Judea is going to be able to do that just as well, right? Like the space, the environment that we're able to create for our members, the chance to connect and engage is going to be fantastic. So I'm very excited. The staff are incredibly friendly and welcoming, and are excited to have us there. And so I think for our members, it's going to be a great experience. I'm from Minnesota, and so when I was down there, they're talking about like, oh well, it's going to be a little cold and all that, and I'm like, well, your definition of Texas cold and mine, and again, weather's different, right? We know that there's always those pieces, but I have a feeling the weather might be a little bit different. I don't think we'll have to worry as much about some of the weather that we experienced at St. Meinrad over the years and things. So for this Minnesota guy, I think being in Texas in January is going to be just fine. So I'm very excited. There's a lot of great opportunities where our team has been meeting regularly. Our curriculum is being fine-tuned right now. And so I'm very excited to be able to welcome our members to Camp Young Judea for this year's program. And I know volunteer roles are open. Just a reminder, whether it's RLCs or A's Academy, that call is out there. So we always have a great group of volunteers who dedicate their time and who are passionate about this program and the experience of our members. Our two leads, Donald Moore and Felix Alonso, are coming back this year and excited to be able to take the lead in person. And so we're just very excited for this year's program. And again, it wouldn't be possible without the help and support of volunteers, our donors, and the Delta Chi Educational Foundation and our staff. I'm just so thankful for everybody's help in making this experience happen.
Well, A's Academy is definitely a something that other organizations are jealous of, and always in awe of us making that happen. And so we're really excited to see that program continue. So Alex, thank you so much for spending a little time with me today on Founders Day. It's been an absolute pleasure spending some time with you and hearing your story, hearing about some of the fantastic educational opportunities that our members have through the Delta Chi fraternity. And I just wanted to say thanks so much for your time, and happy Founders Day.
Happy Founders Day. Thank you, Jason and Peter and the foundation staff and board who are making all this work happen here. Again, it's just so fantastic. I'm was going through some A's assessment just the other day, and 100% of our participants from last year's program said that they were more prepared to take on an idea from development into implementation. Those types of experiences are so impactful. And again, I'm so grateful for the work that you all do that helps support our efforts that enhance the experience of our members. So I hope everyone has a fantastic Founders Day. If you haven't, make a donation, reach out to a brother who's made an impact on you, or a member or a volunteer. I'm just thankful for each and every one of you. This organization means the world to me, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of it.
That's well stated. Can't improve on that. So everyone, head to deltachi.org/Founders Day. Make your gift today. Let's make sure we reach our goal today. Have a great one, everyone. Thanks so much for your time. Talk to you soon.